Hey guys, this is Luke, aka Rick Wilson from RW Soundworks, here finally with the 2021 Porsche Macan S with stock Bose system that we are going to be doing a full SQ build in. And today is to give you an intro with the actual vehicle, some of the layout, and reasons why the Porsche platform works really well, and some of the huge advantages of having a car that is a lot more intentional when it comes from the factory in terms of sound treatment, prevention of rattles, and just overall quality of the build. And you start to see that in a lot of the behind the scenes pieces of when you start to take apart the Porsche or other VAG platforms or Mercedes-Benz, these well-built German vehicles, of why they last longer and deal with rattles over time and are just a much more pleasant vehicle to work in and drive in. So today I'm going to bring you through some of the speaker layout. I have the door. This is still fully together, but I have the passenger door taken apart. I have the trunk mostly apart, so we can start to see some of the layout. So starting in the front doors, this is what your stock Bose system, same with the Burmeister system, and these door will look like. This is again a Bose system. Factory 8-inch mid bass in behind this location, and then you have a 4-inch mid range directly above that. So it's just above knee height. Not the greatest imaging location, but it's workable. It's nice to have a 4-inch mid range, so we can take some of the top end burden off of the mid bass, and we'll see how they react. But we have some the composed tweeters, so we'll play with that crossover. But again, we're using OEM locations, but very well built door, and you can just kind of tell as you're taking things apart that these are built with a different level of quality. So moving into the vehicle, dash corner that houses the tweeter. And really, that's not much else to say. You'll see it on the other side. We have things taken apart. So, moving over to a fully deconstructed passenger door. What you're seeing here is we have the service access panel removed, and we have the 8-inch mid base removed, and the door card, I'll show you guys in a second, is on the table over there. But one thing I wanted to call attention to that Nick from Resonix Sound Solutions commented on when doing a sound treatment video is that I believe Volvo uses these as well. I think Mercedes does, but most VAG vehicles, certainly Porsches, have a big advantage in their door card construction and attachment method that comes from the use of these hook style body connectors. You have gravity working with you, and it allows you to really pinch down as you compress the door card down in there. It really just sucks in and locks in. And these things are rigid. They are much better than, for instance, the body clip styles that I have in my GMC truck that wiggle and wear out. And after you use them a couple of times, they are really almost worthless. I essentially have rib nuts around the perimeter of my door now to secure my door card because I do not trust the body clips anymore, especially with the amount of sound deadening material I have in mine. But with a style like this, it's just really, really, really nice to work with. They come out super easily. The door is super friendly to work with. It took me all of 3 minutes to remove the door card, and this is my first time working with a Porsche. So I don't know, a lot of intention when they put together their vehicles, and they seem fairly easy to service, at least from this perspective. I'm not sure about the engines and such, but certainly a well thought out design. So moving into the door, again, there's a plastic service panel. We're going to treat that with CLD and get that back in there, and that'll be a lot stiffer. There is a little bit of factory deadening here, and you'll see some CLD product in here. Obviously not adequate for what we're looking for. We will end up covering the whole exterior with Resonix Sound Solutions Mega CLD on the outside, and then Resonix Guardian in front of that as our back wave and sound insulator, and create a really nice enclosure for our new i7 Compose mid bass. So again, as I alluded in some of these earlier videos, you have we're going to be using the 3D printed Helix Compose mounts, so those line up perfectly with the OEM locations. I don't have to think. And so I'll get some gaskets on those, and like those speaker installs would take me 15 minutes per side. And honestly, I'll spend much more time sound treating than anything in these doors, which is the way it should be. But I don't have to think about the speaker install anymore. But that's what your front door looks like. It is fairly simple. You have this is your mid-bass wire, and then your harness for your mid-range. Oh, excuse me, it's on the door, so you'll get to see that in just a second. So up here is the factory tweeter location. You have to remove the A-pillar. To get to this, I'll show you why. Because this assembly has a channel for the A-pillar to sit in order to remove the tweeter cover. So you do have to pull the A-pillar, which is very, very easy to remove, just one screw in the top, and then work your way gently out and wiggle until it releases from this sleeve, and then you can pull the entire dash cover out. So you have some room to work with, super easy to pop that out. So we'll get that replaced with the i7 composed tweeter later on today, hopefully, if not first thing tomorrow. So walking over to the door card here. So I've pre-loosened this. This is not loose factory like this, but you essentially have a decent fiber mat. Oh, this is a decent product. It's not quite as good as the fiber mat we'll be putting in, but it's still a nice thing to see compared to most manufacturers. That feels like a piece of paper towel. So you have a very heavy, let's say, a lot of components to this door card, even though it is very rigid. We're going to treat all these plastic welds with butyl Resonix rope. I'll be treating it up there, anywhere where these panels mold to each other, just to get some more rigidity and longevity. We're going to be putting a lot of energy through these doors, so we want those welds to hold up. We'll fully treat all of the flat open areas with Resonix Mega CLD, and then apply Resonix fiber mat, likely the 1/2 inch based on that material, throughout the entire door, every place we can fit. Factory mid-range, I've loosened it up here. So this is removed. This is your factory Bose mid-range. And then our new Helix Compose, that'll be going to replace it. So honestly, not a bad factory mid-range, pretty beefy magnet. Can't really complain, but we'll be swapping that out right in there. This will literally just slide right into the factory mounting locations like that. Bingo, bango, bongo. We'll use those factory 2 locations to mount it secured, and we'll be in business. Actually, I probably have this wrong. Anyways, I'll figure that out. But we have the Porsche mounts. It's ready to go. Down below, 8-inch mid base. Move this out of the way here. So right here, this is what you got from the factory. It's got a big guard on it. Probably even closer, maybe like an 8.5 or 9-inch, but puny little magnet, plastic crappy basket. We have our new i7. That'll be going on these mounts, much beefier, bigger mag, ready to push a lot more air than what we have coming from those factory. But again, we will treat all these welds here with some butyl rope, treat the whole inside. I'll probably duct seal most of the inside of this just to make it nice and rigid, and we'll have a much nicer assembly and a stronger door. Moving out back, where most of the, let's call it custom work, is coming through. So let's start with amplification. So stock amp in the Macans, I think Cayennes are also here. You have the 13-channel amp, so we will take that out. This is the 38-pin connector. We'll remove that, and then we'll also unplug. You can't see from here. There's a MOST connector. So out back in this area, we will have, there's a ton of depth. So I can literally fit most, I can go down to my wrist. There's probably 8 inches, 9 inches of depth in there. So I'm gonna build a stack assembly that will house, this is the V8. So we will have V8, Nav TV, Zen V, Zen 5, not sure what it is, and the Match 1 FX in the back. Then down below here, this void right here, you can see this was the old Bose factory sub, which is a, like, I assume you can hear that in the video of how poorly treated that is and how resonant that panel or that enclosure is. So we were going to move away from this, obviously, and replace it with this Bad Jackson, which is the Focal 10WM. So inside of here, factory batteries under here, so we'll have our wiring come through up here into the amp assembly, but our intention right now is to build a stack fab plywood assembly, take advantage of some of this nice volume you have down here, and essentially the sub will stay right about there when it's all said and done, and be about 1.5 inches below the false floor. And that will be probably, I'm hoping to get about 0.6, 0.7. If I can get a cube, great. But this thing only really needs 3/4 of a cube to get enough air to function as a full range sub. And that will be the rear assembly of the vehicle and kind of the final piece. So schedule is hopefully to treat front doors today, get most of the speakers in up front, at least the mid-range and mid-bass. Then we will drop back, work on our amp rack tomorrow. And then third day should be sub enclosure. And then fourth day, I'm kind of reserving for really just the tune all day or anything that lingers beyond that. So thank you guys for tuning in. More to come. Appreciate it. Leave a comment if there's any questions you guys have. Fire away.